What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. MTG here with another episode. If you're new to the channel, hi there. So today I have right here the iPad Mini 6. I've had this device for 1 year now, and I want to share my thoughts, my opinions, my experience using this device. And spoiler alert, this was my favorite purchase that I made in 2021, and I've still continued to use it, and I've still enjoyed every second of using the iPad Mini 6 in 2022. So without further delay, let's dive right in. Taking a look at design, I love how Apple went ahead and redesigned this iPad Mini 6. It's just a younger version, a younger brother of the iPad Air 5. That's really it. Minimal bezels. It doesn't have a home button anymore. Rather, it has Touch ID embedded into the power button. The volume buttons are on the top, and they do switch. So if I'm in landscape mode right here, this is the volume up, and this is volume down. If I switch into vertical mode, then right here, the right side is still volume up and the left is volume down. And then if I switch the other way on horizontal, this becomes volume down. So it's kind of oriented to according to whichever way you're using the iPad Mini 6. I like that. Some people aren't a huge fan of having the volume buttons on the top. I don't really mind. I have gotten used to it. Obviously, it's not going to be on the right-hand side, or if you use it landscape mode on the top, because that's the spot where you put the Apple Pencil. And I love how the iPad Mini 6 now has the latest Apple Pencil Gen support. That's a huge plus. I've been using the Apple Pencil to create the wallpapers that you see on all of my devices. So right here, the iPad Mini 6, this is my latest wallpaper pack. It is called Illusions. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, and I'm trying to release at least one wallpaper pack once a month. I'm still working on a bunch of other wallpaper packs behind the scenes. I'm hopeful that I'm going to release those in the coming weeks and coming months. So like I said, I'll be leaving a link in the description down below if you want to check it out, support the channel. It would really mean a lot. Anyway, there is that. I've been using this device to create those wallpapers, to make content, to kind of script my videos of what I need to talk about in each and every video. Sometimes the bullet points, sometimes the actual scripts. I write my Medium articles on here. I'm consuming a lot of media. I use this as my infotainment system in my car, so that's also a huge plus. But it all relates back to this design. It's portable. I absolutely love it. And USB-C, that's also a huge plus too. The speakers do get fairly loud, and I just love how it's less bezel. Obviously, there's still a little bit of bezel, so when you're using it, you want to have some place to put your thumb. But other than that, this has been a beautiful design. Some may not like it, some may absolutely love it. I'm one of those people who just absolutely love the iPad Mini 6. Now, talking about performance, the iPad Mini 6 has absolutely blown me. Now, not literally, but you know what I mean. It houses the A15 Bionic chipset, so it's the same one found in the iPhone 13 series. And obviously, it's not going to have the A16, the newer chipsets found in newer iPhones and beyond, or it doesn't have M1, but that's okay. The A15 is still really powerful. It does have a 60 hertz display, and there's this whole thing of jelly scrolling, but if you don't think about it too much, it doesn't really annoy you. I have never thought about it. Like, I've heard about it and I just dismissed it because it doesn't really annoy me too much. But when you do really think about it, yes, you can see it. But other than that, I've had no issues. I haven't complained about jelly scrolling on the iPad Mini 6. Yeah, for those, it is present. But for me, I've just not been thinking about it. I just go along with my day and continue to use it as is. But I would have liked if it had a 120 hertz display. Maybe they make an iPad Mini Pro or an iPad Mini 7th gen with an OLED display, 120 hertz, a refresh rate display, as well as Face ID. Who knows? Maybe a thicker chassis to it, which would hopefully have a larger battery. But that's just hopes and dreams, and maybe it might come out, maybe it might not. But Apple, if you ever watch this video, I would really love to have an iPad Mini Pro. But anyway, other than that, it's absolutely been great. From watching YouTube videos to watching a lot of Amazon Prime to creating these wallpapers and to playing Call of Duty on the iPad Mini 6, absolute breeze. It has been an absolute breeze. But what I love more about this is my workflow. my workflow for the channel, for the business. I'm creating wallpapers. I'm just airdropping it to my iPhone or to my MacBook Air. Or if I have to edit some photos, I typically edit my thumbnails on here on my iPad mini 6. So I'll go into Lightroom and I'll just touch up the photos from here because it's a larger screen in the end than my iPhone. I can do it on my iPhone, but just larger screen. I get to kind of zoom in and see better of where I want to edit. So it's also been a huge plus there. And I'll be honest, with other things that I haven't used, I haven't used camera, so I don't know the performance. Like, I don't even remember opening up the camera app at all. And I think that's really it. There's iPad OS 16, and I've had the beta. So there you go. You can see you can't customize the lock screen or anything like that. And that's kind of a bummer, but maybe we might see that with iPad OS 17. Another, not complaint, but another thing that I noticed after it was called out is just, I kind of wish they made use of the screen a little bit better. Kind of the screen ratios, like there's so much extra space around here. I wish they made use of it a little bit better, especially if you use it in vertical mode. I just can't. Or what do they call this? This is landscape and this is vertical, but I just don't use it like this. Sometimes before I go to bed, I might read an article or two on Medium, then I'll, be holding my iPad mini like this, but 95% of the time it is like this, even when I'm creating a wallpaper too. So there is that. That's just something I did notice. But for those who are worried about day-to-day performance, it's going to get the job done. This is 256 gigs. 64 gigs for me was just too little. Like I couldn't justify getting 64 gigs on my iPad mini because I knew what I was going to use it for. I wanted to store my photos and I wanted to make wallpapers on here and use it for that reason. So that's really why I picked up 256 gigs. There's sales that go on quite often with the iPad mini 6, and I'll be leaving links of the iPad mini 6 down below if you do want to check them out as well. But if you're afraid of performance, if it's not going to perform well, you don't need to. You don't need to hesitate. This performs really well. I want to talk about battery life on the iPad mini 6. And I'm a heavy user. I frequently use the iPad mini 6, and this has been good. Not like great, but good. Since it's a larger device, it is an iPad in the end. It does last me throughout the day. I mean, I've been using it since morning. I'm at 61%. So that's also a huge plus. But using it, watching videos on YouTube, catching up with my favorite YouTubers and seeing what kind of content they put out so I can learn from them, to making wallpapers and other content on the iPad mini 6. It lasts me throughout the day. If I start using it the second day, it'll die out towards the afternoon, which I need to put it in charge. But I'm happy that there is USB-C because it just makes everything more simple. My main device, which is an Android, I do carry two phones, one Android device, which is the Z Flip 4 at the time of this recording, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max, again, at the time of this recording. It just makes everything so much easier when I'm carrying a USB-C cable to charge my iPad, to charge my MacBook, to charge my camera, and to charge my Android device. That's a huge plus. It doesn't have wireless charging, for those who maybe didn't know that. But larger battery would have been pretty nice. It's a thin tablet. I kind of wish, it feels good in the hand because it's thin, but I kind of wish it was a little bit larger. I kind of wish there was a larger battery, but we might see that in the next iteration. Hopefully, again, Apple, if you do ever watch this video and you see this, please put in a larger battery. That would be clutch. And 1 year later, I want to talk about the price. So the initial price, $499 for 64 gigs, that's a hard sell. I mean, why? Because you can find cheaper iPads that might perform a little bit better, or just like an iPad Air 4th gen that might be a little bit better for that specific person. But 64 gigs, I just didn't want to pick up 64 gigs. So I went ahead and picked up 256 gigs. Now the thing with price is the iPad mini 6 frequently goes on sale. Again, like I said earlier, I'll be leaving links in the description down below. But my personal recommendation would be, if you're just going to use the iPad mini 6 to just watch your Netflix show or your latest show on Disney Plus or whatever it may be, then I would say 64 gigs is plenty. But if you want to start using it to make content or to just save stuff on your iPad mini 6, if you want to go cellular, which does cost more, I would personally recommend 256 gigs. And that's because I do use it, and it's really come in clutch. I'm able to save more and more of my photos for the YouTube channel. So again, huge plus, but that's just my personal recommendation. 64 gigs. For those who just want to use it as a media consumption device, and for those who want to use it for work and add it into their workflow, 256 gigs is the sweet spot. And hopefully Apple does release like 128 gigs as the base storage, or maybe up it up to 256 gigs as the base storage. I personally would have liked if they added 512 gigs maybe. I don't know, I might be pushing it, but for those who love the iPad, I think you might agree with me. But Apple iPad mini 6 always goes on sale, so just be on the lookout. That's my experience with this device 1 year later. And that about wraps up this video. Would I recommend this device 1 year later? It depends on what you want to do. If you're looking for a compact tablet, this is it. This is the best tablet that you can pick up that's compact on the market. I don't think there's any real competitor. There might be, but it just can't compete with the iPad mini 6 from its performance, this design, just working with every single product in the Apple ecosystem. I think it's perfect. My favorite purchase of 2021, like I said in the beginning of the video. However, if you're actually looking for a tablet to get work done, like let's say you're going to use it for school, I would say get a larger screen like an iPad Air, or maybe even iPad Pro 12.9 inch. This probably wouldn't cut it. Again, this is for smaller things like consuming media or making digital products or whatever it may be, or for editing videos. Some want to carry an iPad for editing videos. I did try on here. It's definitely a little bit more difficult with a smaller screen. I'm not saying it's not doable. It is, but I just couldn't get used to it. I thought I would, but that quickly kind of died out. A couple months into using the iPad mini 6, I just stopped editing because it was just too difficult for me. So this is mainly a consumption device. If you don't want to use your phone and you want to carry something with you that's strictly your consumption device and getting digital, creating digital products or whatnot like I do, I would personally recommend this. And later on in the future, I might even pick up a cellular version of the iPad mini 6 because I absolutely love this device. But that's really been it. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to superman that like button, comment down below, and best of all, share this video because it really does help out the channel a lot and will help push my content out to more people. That's been it for me, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.